Hello, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Wagner. This is week 9. This is our last week of classes before the end of the 9 weeks, which is when you get report cards and you get a grade from Mrs. Wagner. What you've done so far in this 9 weeks, the first 4 weeks of school, we were all live virtual. I could see your work, so I could grade your work. You know how I showed you, had you show me your work at the end of the class. I would mark down that you were doing your work and how you were progressing. Now that if you are still working virtually, I can't see what you're doing because we're not live. And if you are the Wednesday classes that have to do the virtual classes because we are off so the teachers can do these videos, you don't get to see me either. That means I don't get to see your work, so I need to see it. If you are a Wednesday student, please bring your work in. I need to see it to grade it. The virtual students, please have an adult that you live with take a photograph of your work so that I can see it to grade it. What we did and what we started on week 5 was we started with drawing the contour line of a pumpkin. We talked about that on week 5, and we started continuing talking about line patterns. We had started drawing line patterns earlier in the year when we were doing our other projects. We were just continuing this in the pumpkin because it was the Halloween season was coming up, and Thanksgiving season. We use pumpkins for decorating for Thanksgiving as well. You were to do a line pattern in every other one of the little ribs of the pumpkin. I just started this, so this was week 5. Week 6 and week 7, you were to add color. There were videos on the modules for 6 and 7 that talked about warm and cool colors. We had done enough videos and enough talking about line patterns that you did not have a video about lines, but this is another one that I was working on to show on the videos. You can see the line patterned areas or ribs of the pumpkin were I added colors with cool colors. The video again talks about cool colors. Cool colors are blues, purples, greens, black, and gray. We used the markers that we were given at the beginning of the year once you got into school, and we colored in the areas that had the line patterns with those cool colors, and we discussed it quite a few times in class, and you had that video to review. The empty areas, because remember every other one was going to have no pattern, so you had a line pattern of no pattern, line pattern, no pattern, line, and continued that pattern across. The ones that had no patterns were to be warm colors. Warm colors are red, different types because of oranges. There's red orange, there's a real light orange, there's yellow orange, you've got yellows, pinks. We do have a purple that's almost like a pink. It's like red violet. It's got a lot of red in it. That's very pink. That's a warm color. Those were the colors that you were allowed to fill in the blank areas. So week 6 and week 7, you finished coloring the patterns. Last week, week 8, I started talking about printmaking, and I showed you how to do printmaking. I just chose primary colors because if I felt like using secondary colors, I could mix the primary colors to make the secondary colors. So we were using these colors to print because it didn't matter if they overlapped, it would still be able to see them. We cut fruit in half, and this is celery. I cut the end of a celery stalk and pressed those in. This is just the beginning of printmaking, but it was a fun little project. If you didn't get to this, that is fine. If you're still working on your pumpkin, and it's taken you a little bit of time, I don't mind, as long as the quality of your coloring and the designs are good. But I remember boys and girls that that have art on Wednesdays, please bring your artwork in. You can also take a photograph and send it to my email, along with the students that are virtual the rest of the year. This is Mrs. Wagner's school email. It's lynn.wagner@AGASD, that stands for Albert Gallatin Area School District.org. This is where you could send photographs. Some of the parents are using the Canvas email. That works too, but I need to see your work to give you a grade. The quizzes that you are doing on Canvas are just to show participation. They are not to give you your final grade. Your final grade is on your artwork. So please make sure in the next week or two that you send me photos of your finished projects. Thanks, boys and girls.